Deep dives and blue skies. Welcome back to Talking Blue with Nick, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talking Blue, the best Dodgers analytical podcast that you can find. I'll be your host, Nick. Today, that's right, another episode of Talking Blue, back-to-back, episode 39. Today, we're previewing the Dodgers and the Astros. Yes, old friend of the Dodgers. We'll talk about them. Astros have been playing pretty well as of late, one of the better teams in the AL, so it's going to be a good matchup. As always, you can get this podcast on Spotify, on YouTube, and on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Talking Blue Pod on all social media. You can follow myself at Talking Blue Nick on X. Follow us on Reddit at competitive-week8715. So, like I said, the Astros come into Los Angeles. The Astros are currently in first place in the American League West. Pretty good team. Really good pitching. Solid offensive team. They have some injuries right now. Jeremy Pena, who's been their best player this year, just got injured. And then, of course, Yordan Alvarez, who's been their best hitter for a while now. He is also injured, and he actually just re-injured his hand, so he's probably going to be out for a little while. So let's talk about the Astros and the Dodgers, how they match up. Let's get into that. So like I said, the Astros are currently in first place in the American League West. Offensively, the Astros are fourth in batting average. They are ninth in on-base percentage, but they are 14th in slugging percentage. They have the fifth least amount of walks and the fifth least amount of strikeouts. They have pretty bad barrel numbers and hard hit numbers, so not a lot of power and patience at the plate, but they make a lot of contact and they don't strike out that much. On the pitching side, they have the fifth best ERA in baseball, the second best batting average against, and the second best on base against. They have the sixth least amount of walks allowed and the most strikeouts in all of baseball. They are number one in strikeouts. They have the fourth highest chase percentage and the number one whiff percentage. They also have a really good bullpen with the third best ERA and the most strikeouts per nine. So, overall, pretty solid offensive team that puts the ball in play, hits for batting average, doesn't really walk or strike out. So they're kind of an aggressive team that will put the ball in play. And like I said, on the pitching side, pretty good pitching staff. Framber Valdez, one of the better pitchers in baseball the last few years. Hunter Brown has taken the next step this year, and he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's going to be in the Cy Young conversation. Dodgers won't see him in this series, though. They will see Framber Valdez. And like I said, the bullpen is very good. Guys like Josh Hader and Abreu in the bullpen, nasty guys. They have a couple other really good lefties. So, the first game is Friday night, 4th of July. It'll be Ben Kasparius. He will not be an opener or anything like that. He will get the actual start. He will go up against Lance McCullers. So, Lance McCullers, of course, I believe him and Jose Altuve are the only players left from that 2017 team. So, let's talk about how McCullers and how the Dodgers match up. So, McCullers has come back from injury this year. He's only thrown in 32 innings. McCullers had a pretty bad year and has a lot of really bad expected numbers. The only thing that he does well is he does have some decent strikeout numbers. He has 40 strikeouts in 32 innings, and he has pretty good ground ball numbers. But other than that, he has an ERA of 6.61 and with an expected ERA of 4.84, which is pretty bad. So, doesn't throw very hard. He's a sinker baller. And his best pitch is a slider. So, Lance McCullers, right-handed hitters hit him a lot better than lefties. That is because, like I said, he's a guy that throws a lot of breaking balls, so he's got a good curveball and a good slider. Also throws a changeup. So that's what makes it harder on left-handed hitters, but righties hit him hard, and that is because he has a very bad sinker. So, when you look at his individual pitches, his slider has a 255 batting average against with a 215 expected batting average. That's a solid pitch. His sinker, though, has a 333 batting average against, and it only has a 16 whiff percentage. So his sinker gets absolutely crushed. The changeup is 250, expected 245. So again, that's a solid pitch. And then his curveball is his best pitch, 150 batting average against, expected 177. So his curveball is his best pitch. Slider and changeup are solid pitches that are very hittable. The curveball gets a ton of whiffs, 45 whiff percentage. But other than that, all the other pitches don't get as much swing and miss. And like I said, the sinker gets absolutely crushed. Righties hit him a lot better than lefties. So, in this game, guys who hit sinkers are very good matchups for him. Are a very good matchup for him. A lot of guys in the Dodgers hit sinkers well. Obviously, Shohei and Freddie. Mookie's a very good sinker hitter, as well as Teoscar, as well as Muncy. Of course, Muncy's injured, so he's down. Tommy Edman and Paz, not as good sinker hitters. So, in this game, my 2 home run picks, I'm going to pick Mookie Betts and Will Smith. Mookie hits 467 against McCullers in his career, so he has a lot of familiarity and has hit very well against him. Of course, Lance McCullers, like I said, righties hit over 300 against him. Mookie's right-handed. Mookie hits over 300 against sinkers, so he has very good numbers against sinkers. And then I'm picking Will Smith because he hits breaking balls well as sinkers. He also hits over 300 against sinkers. And then again, the way the Dodgers deploy Will Smith and Dalton Rushing, I think Will Smith will get the first game as a starting behind the plate. So I think it makes sense to pick him. Another right-handed hitter. McCullers, pretty good pitcher throughout his career, but he's been injured a lot the last few years. He did not pitch in 2023 or 2024. And in 2022, he only pitched 47 innings. He hasn't pitched a full season since 2021, where he threw 162 innings. So he's been injured a lot throughout his career. He's only 31. But, yeah, I think the Dodgers can hit him. He hasn't been good this year. Dodgers, like I said, crush sinkers. So hopefully they can get to that sinker. Guys like Teoscar, like I said, they good against sinkers. Looking for some of those guys to break out. Maybe get McCullers out of the game. Get into that Astros bullpen so they can use up the bullpen because, like I said, it's very good. Now, against Ben Casparius. Nobody's faced Ben Casparius, of course, because he is a rookie. What I could find on the Astros hitters, of course, Jeremy Pena and Jose Alvarez are injured. So their best hitters are Isaac Paredes. He's having a very good year. Cam Smith, the rookie, Jake Myers. Those are some of their best hitters. Other than that, a lot of other guys have struggled. Jose Altuve's only been a little bit above league average this year. He's got a 106 weighted runs created plus. But then guys like Victor Caratini, who gets a lot of DH at bats, Mauricio Dubon, who's a platoon utility player, Yainer Diaz is their catcher. He's well below league average. And then Christian Walker, who normally crushes the Dodgers, he's been very bad as well. So the Astros lineup is not as loaded as you might think. Guys at the top, Paredes, Myers, Cam Smith has been pretty good. But other than that, a lot of guys below league average. So when it comes to Ben Casparius, they're a pretty good fastball hitting team. Guys like Isaac, guys like Yainer Diaz, and then Jake Myers. But then against the slider, they're not as good. Only Victor Caratini and Altuve are good. Everyone else is not as good. That's a pretty good pitch for Ben Casparius. And then he also has a good curveball. They're very bad against curveballs, so I think they can match it. He can pitch pretty well against them. He has struggled as of late, ever since being built up. So maybe Casparius won't go too deep into the game, but we'll see how Casparius does against the Astros. So we'll keep it moving, and we'll go to Game 2. Game 2, Shohei Ohtani will be on the bump against Framber Valdez. Framber Valdez, one of the best pitchers in the game, probably the most underrated pitcher in the game. He, once again, has a 2.72 ERA. He has a 1.13 whip. He has 109 innings pitched, 108 strikeouts. Probably the best ground ball pitcher in the game. He's in the 97th percentile in ground ball percentage. But I was a little bit surprised to find out that he has a lot of not so good expected numbers. So, like I said, he's got a 2.72 ERA. His expected ERA is actually 3.77. So not horrible. He's got an expected batting average of 250. So, of course, like I said, Framber Valdez pretty much is a three-pitch pitcher. He has a sinker, a curveball, and a changeup. Also throws a slider, but doesn't really mix it in as much. So, another guy who has a sinker that gets crushed. So, his sinker has a 256 batting average against, but it's expected 328. The curveball is very dominant. 175 batting average against with a 43.8% whiff rate. So his curveball is one of the best in baseball. Also has a good changeup, 221 batting average against, 29% whiff rate. And then the slider is pretty good. Like I said, doesn't throw out that much. So again, just like Lance McCullers, he has very good off-speed pitches, but then the sinker is not as good. So Valdez also is another guy who is better against the opposite side. He's left-handed, right. He hits righties hit 210 against him, lefties hit 237, so not so great either way. Now against Valdez, the Dodgers have a lot of familiarity. Kike Hernandez hits 319 against him with 2 home runs. Freddie, Teoscar, and Shohei all have 1 home run against him. Obviously, Shohei, being in the American League West, has a lot of familiarity against him. So, in this game, again, a lot of sinker ball matchups are good, like Teoscar, like Shohei and Mookie, Will Smith. So in this game, I'm going to pick Teoscar Hernandez and Kike Hernandez as my 2 home run picks. Teoscar, of course, good sinker ball hitter, and he's always crushed lefties. Would like to see him get going a little bit. He's been struggling for a little bit. I don't love that the breaking balls and off-speed pitches that he possesses against Teoscar, but I think if he can get a sinker out over the plate, Teoscar will hit it out. And then Kike, like I said, Kike has 2 home runs against him, and of course he'll be in there against a lefty. Kike, pretty decent fastball hitter, so I like the matchup there. So we'll talk about Shohei. Of course, he's looked pretty good so far. He's got the 4 innings pitched. The velocity's been way up. I think that'll continue. We'll see how long the Dodgers will let him go. Will they let him pitch into the 3rd inning or something like that? We've seen him go 1 inning at a time. Then last time he did go 2 innings. We'll see if he could pitch into the 3rd inning this time. I wouldn't be surprised if it was more of the same, just 2 innings, and then Justin Robleski will come out of the bullpen, I believe. I believe they've already come out and said he's going to follow Shohei. The Astros do have a lot of familiarity with Ohtani. Of course, he pitched in the American League West for a long time. So, of course, since Shohei's been there, it's some different guys in the lineup. So, that could benefit the Astros, but it could benefit Ohtani as well, as he will be prepared for them. Like I said, they're not as great against sliders. Some numbers are better against sweepers, which Ohtani is a guy who throws 2 different breaking balls. But I think he'll pitch pretty well in his 2 innings. He's been able to command the strike zone pretty well. So it'll be a tough matchup against Valdez for the Dodgers. They have been better against right-handed pitching this year than they have lefties, but still good against lefties, very good against sinkers. If they can get the ball up, they can hammer that sinker, I think. So Game 3, it's going to be harder to kind of talk about because none of the probable pitchers have been out yet. The Astros, like the Dodgers, played Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. So when it comes to that Sunday game, whoever pitches will either be on short rest or it's going to be some kind of bullpen game. The Dodgers, it could be Emmett Sheehan, who last pitched in the minor leagues, of course, and could get recalled. If it is Emmett Sheehan, then he probably wouldn't go too deep because I do believe he pitched earlier this week. So I don't know if it exactly lines up well enough for him to start on Sunday. Could just be some kind of bullpen game. And then with the Astros, Colton Gordon is one of their other starters. He pitched last on Tuesday. So again, it would be kind of short rest for him. They also have another pitcher in the bullpen who has got some starts, Ryan Gusto. So it could be either Gusto or Gordon for the Astros. Gordon is left-handed. Gusto is right-handed. 2 younger guys who haven't pitched a ton in the big league, so Dodgers won't have any familiarity against them. So for this game, I'll just throw out there Shohei and Freddie. Shohei's been hitting really well lately, and then Freddie really heated up in that White Sox series, especially the last couple games. So I'll pick them as my home run picks, although obviously don't really have any idea who's going to pitch. All my home run picks are pretty much always matchup based. So that's pretty much going to be it for all the info and all the matchups and stuff like that. Astros are a very good team. Of course, we all know the history between the Dodgers and the Astros, the sign stealing stuff, 2017, everything that occurred with that. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about the Astros? Has a lot of that stuff kind of left your mind? Obviously, in terms of the current Astros, I believe it's just Lance McCullers Jr. and Jose Altuve are the only last two guys on the roster. So does that kind of change your mind? Do you not really think about them as much? I personally don't really like the Astros that much, but I'm curious to know if anyone else is like that. Do you hate the Astros? They're a good team once again. I kind of thought this would be a year that they would finally fall off a little bit because they kind of sold in the offseason. They obviously traded away Kyle Tucker. They let Bregman go, but they made some other kind of smart moves. They kind of make really nice around the edge moves. Obviously brought in Paredes. Jeremy Pena took the next step this year, but then he just got hurt. So once again, they're a very solid team. Good starting, pitching, really good bullpen, one of the better bullpens. And then they're always a team that doesn't strike out too much and stuff like that. So really smart, one of the smarter organizations, better teams. Let me know below. What do you guys think the Dodgers will do this weekend? Hopefully the Dodgers can take the series, continue to play well. Would like them to match up well against another really good team. So would like to see them take the series. Maybe they could even sweep and stay hot. Who knows? So let me know below, guys. Your thoughts, your predictions, who's going deep. How do you think the Dodgers match up against the Astros? Do you hate them? Are they cheaters? Let me know. So, as always, thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoy the rest of your 4th of July. Hopefully there's some fireworks tonight, some home runs off the bat of the Dodgers. So, as always, you can get this podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on social media at Talking Blue Pod, as well as Talking Blue Nick, which is my personal X. Subscribe to the Reddit at competitive-week 8715. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back to review this series.